to CNN 10, where we're taking you everywhere from the Middle East to the Far East this Tuesday. I'm Cral, Azuz, and our first story concerns a weapon that's said to be hypersonic, meaning it would travel at several times the speed of sound. Russia's defense ministry says it's conducted a successful test of a hypersonic missile. A nation might want a weapon like that because, in theory, it would fly fast enough to get through missile defense systems, which are designed to shoot down incoming projectiles. Russia says its hypersonic missile was launched from a fighter jet, that it's intended to hit targets on land and at sea, and that the one it tested hit a specific spot at a training ground. Russian President Vladimir Putin called the missile invincible and says his country has the greatest nuclear potential in the world. But there is some skepticism about whether Russia really has a working hypersonic missile. A U.S. government official says there's doubt that the weapon President Putin described was even close to being operational. And that was echoed by U.S. Defense Secretary James Mattis.
And I would just tell you that I saw no change to the Russian military capability. And each of these systems he's talking about that are still years away, I do not see them changing the military balance. They do not impact any need on our side for a change in our deterrent posture.
International analysts say President Putin might be promoting his country's military strength in order to portray himself as a strong leader in Russia and abroad. Russia has a presidential election scheduled for March 18th. From Russia, we're taking you to Saudi Arabia, a nation where this June, women will be allowed to have driver's licenses. It's a major change for the absolute monarchy, whose legal system is based on Sharia or Islamic religious law. The government has strict controls over many aspects of life there, from the economy to the nation's broadcast media. So the change had to come from the top. Not all of the nation's religious leaders support the change. And the kingdom still has guardianship laws which require women to get permission from their husbands, fathers, or other male relatives for many decisions in their lives. But they will not need that permission to drive a car.
Saudi Arabia is the only place on the planet where women cannot drive a car. In June, though, that will all be history, as women are set to hit the highway. The road to get here has been paved with decades of protest and petition. In 1990, 47 women took to the streets. Forbidden from riding around Riyadh, they were soon arrested.
I love driving. I wish I can drive in our country.
Her wish was not realized. The struggle went on. Women, thousands of them, flouted the authorities.
Crime driving while female.
Fast forward to 2011, and prominent activist and author Manal al-Sharif was jailed for 9 days after she posted this clip of her in the driver's seat on YouTube.
It's a symbolic act of the women's rights. We want to be full citizens. I'm educated, I have a job, and I should be I should be trusted to drive my own car.
And last September, that trust was extended.
An historic day for millions of women and their families here in Saudi Arabia.
The royal decree issued by King Salman was celebrated by many in the uber-conservative country.
I can't wait till June. It feels great, actually, because we've been waiting for this for years.
How do you feel?
I haven't slept from excitement.
I've spoken to people here who say that they appreciate that change is necessary, but they say things are going so quickly, it's too fast. To which you say what?
Which I agree, it is going fast, but I appreciate it. I don't think, it's like a band-aid. I think if you take it slow, it's going to hurt much more longer and it will be harder for people to adapt. I think the fact that they realize that there's a realization that it's necessary to move fast really helps the development, because the whole world is going fast and the people who don't take these fast steps are really left behind.
Something this man doesn't want to happen in his country. Saudi Arabia's young, ambitious Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is credited with driving this forward. All part of the road ahead for Saudi Arabia, a multifaceted vision to bring the kingdom up to speed by 2030. And with this change, women will no longer be passengers, simply along for the ride. Becky Anderson, CNN, Abu Dhabi.
Major changes also taking place in China. Its presidency used to be limited to a pair of back-to-back terms of 5 years each. Now, there is no limit. It's a constitutional change that also applies to the country's vice presidency. That means that President Xi Jinping and the person he chooses as his VP could rule China for decades. Another constitutional change has led to the creation of an all-powerful anti-corruption agency that'll have a level of power similar to China's Supreme Court. China is a communist country, its main political party has no significant opposition, so the vote to make these changes was mostly symbolic. It's been criticized by some Western analysts as a return to more oppressive, single-person rule in China. The country's government-controlled media calls that ignorant of China's reality. But the government has also clamped down on dissent across the internet in China. People there say it's removed any negative reactions to the constitutional changes and gone after keywords like emperor and disagree.
10-second trivia. Which of these conflicts occurred after the war to end all wars? World War II, U.S. Civil War, Napoleonic Wars, or War of 1812? The war to end all wars was another term for World War I, and the only one of these conflicts that came after that was World War II.
Two words, penguin and selfie. 10 out of 10. An explorer named Eddie Galt recently left behind a camera at a penguin colony in Antarctica. So an emperor penguin waddled over to have a look, and it's not long before a friend comes over to photobomb it. Well, why shouldn't they get their close-up? They're already wearing tuxedos. And then, as if they're asked what they think about selfies in general, nope. Probably think those are for the birds. Hey, at least they weren't camera shy. Of course, they'd starred in March of the Penguins, so they've already been on air, if not in it. And who needs to be king of Instagram when you're already the emperor of Antarctica? I'm Carl Azuz, penguining all day for CNN 10.